Hey, Dave, what's up, bud?
James, how are you?
Hey, man, good to see you.
Likewise.
Is my lighting okay?
It looks good to me.
All right, cool. Let's do it.
So yeah, I sent you the question arc, and if there's anything you want to tweak, we can, or otherwise.
I sent you an email back with the one tweak.
Yeah, so I won't ask that question. I will tell you from my personal experience, I really felt like managing people made me a better parent, and being a parent made me a better manager. And the difference was I loved my kids unconditionally, and it made me think about being more generous with my employees about, trying to cultivate a mindset of I like you unconditionally, and then you can still move me off that, but like starting from that place. But,
God bless you. I find that I'm growing simultaneously more and less patient.
Yes. No, I get that. I get that. And
oh my God.
There's really this, if I can coach you, I'm so willing to work with it. And if I can't, it's like,
good riddance.
What are we talking about, right?
Good riddance.
Yeah.
Oh my
Cool.
God.
All right. Well, so I'm just gonna jump in, and then what's gonna happen? I'll record this session. I'll post it to YouTube. I'll trim it, and it'll be really, low rent, my low skills video production, just cutting the,
all good, man. The only thing that matters is the content.
Yeah, and then we'll give you advance notice of the date we put it up, but we'll, between the 5th and the 20th, push a couple videos each day. And the day that we push yours, we'll promote it on social. Yeah. And you can do whatever you want with it.
I'll reshare. I always do. Happy to do that.
Yeah. And then we'll have live Q&A on the 20th, and we'll come back on, here's the slots. But so thanks again for doing this.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for inviting me.
My pleasure. It's my great pleasure to welcome James Oliver Jr. to VC++ 2020. James, can you tell us about yourself?
Sure. My name is James Oliver Jr. I am co-founder of the world's cutest twins, 7-year-old Thaddeus and Zoe, founder of WeMontage.com, which is the world's only website that lets you turn your digital images into peel and stick wallpaper. Also the author of the book, The More You Hustle, The Luckier You Get. You Can Be a Successful Parentpreneur, which I wrote to inspire the millions of parentpreneurs around the world to be the best parent and entrepreneur possible. And some have regarded it as the realest book about entrepreneurship they've ever written. And most recently, I'm founder and CEO of the ParentPreneur Foundation, which I started doing at the beginning of COVID, which is a $50,000 seed grant from the one and only Brad Feld.
Cool. So tell us a little bit more about the foundation and what your mission is and how you're delivering it.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. So the mission of the foundation is to empower Black parentpreneurs to be the best parent and entrepreneur possible so they can leave a legacy to their children.
Cool. One of the things that I see in the conversations about the pressure of doing a startup is how do you maintain mental health? How do you maintain your life? And I'll tell you that personally, I don't like the term work-life balance because I don't think work is the opposite of life. But how do you integrate that? And can you talk about what kinds of guidance you give to parents, what kinds of struggles you see with parents that are founders?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And I agree. You said a key word there, integrate. I think work-life balance is a myth. It's an illusion. I think work-life integration ought to be the goal. And right now, I mean, look, I am virtual schooling my twins every day. I mean, I just finished a glass of rosé because it's 1 o'clock.
Right.
That works. But seriously though, like I just started therapy sessions.
Mhm.
And I did that in conjunction with, separately, but along with in the foundation. One of the things that's so troubling for me is in the Black community, mental health and wellness, those things are taboo. There's stigmas around those things. In our community, we're shattering those stereotypes. We just paid for 15 members of our community to get therapy. And I mean, this is so important. I mean, it's important in general, but it's so important right now because of, look, man, I'm sitting in my dining room, and from here to the kitchen is 6 feet. And sometimes I get up, and by the time I get from here to the kitchen, I can barely remember what I went to the kitchen for.
Right.
Why did I get up to go to the kitchen? And that's because there's so much going on, particularly as I'm, teaching my children, and I'm having a hard time sometimes keeping it all together. So I'm really excited to be in therapy and just to get some tools to help manage my mental resources and to create some mental space for myself, so I don't forget when I go from here to the kitchen.
And I give you huge credit for naming that. One of the other speakers has an app for her company, Keep Appy, which is a mental gym for mental health. And she talked about, if you have an ankle sprain, people don't say just keep running on your ankle.
No.
But when you have a mental health challenge, there's this whole just, suffer in silence.
No, you can't do it. And
Yeah.
and if epigenetics is true, which is the theory, controversial one,
Mhm.
it's a theory that any trauma you experience in your life attaches to your DNA and it passes down generationally. And I think about that in the context of Black people. If that's true, Black people have 400 years
Yeah.
of trauma
Yeah.
in this country that we're passing down, and it's not okay. And we need to do something about it. And that's one of the things that I'm so proud of. And even though it's a stigma, man, when I opened up, so we did it twice. First time we paid for 10 people, and I put that type form up, and I was like, I'll put this up, and once 10 people fill up, like, that's it, it's closed. In
Right.
15 minutes, it was full.
Wow.
And then we have this wonderful woman who's a psychologist in our community,
Mhm.
because we have this online community. I'll talk about that because I didn't answer the back half of your previous question.
Sure. Sure.
But she's a psychologist, she's a member of our community, and she's really excited about the work we've done. And I'm going to tell you, in the 2 months since we started, and I'll run down the list of our accomplishments,
Mhm.
it's remarkable. But when she was like, this is so great, how can I help? She gave us $1,100 contribution, and we paid for 5 more people
Mhm.
to get therapy. So in terms of the community, like how we're actually executing the mission, we have a community that I spun up on Mighty Networks.
Yeah.
And mightynetworks.com is just a great platform for building community. And I did that intentionally off of Facebook. One, because I don't trust Mark Zuckerberg and those guys.
Sure.
And two, because I'm not about to pay anyone to get access to my community.
Right.
And, this is a community on Mighty Networks. I own the community.
Mhm.
If I decide to take it down, I can download email addresses. I can see what they were interested in. I can
Right.
easily spin it up someplace else. And just the design of it is beautiful. People are engaging organically. And so I'm also in, so let's talk about what we've accomplished, right? There's a long list, so I may forget some of it, but we got a $50,000 seed grant from Brad Feld.
Mhm.
We've given away $10,000 in grants to 10 very great Black parentpreneurs. We're an AWS Activate partner. We've already approved about $40,000 in credits. So for us, we're looking holistically at Black parents who are entrepreneurs or Black parentpreneurs. So it's not just, here's the money, right? Because we're not the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Right. Right.
I don't have enough money to solve the money problems for everybody in the community. But occasionally we will do grants. We're expecting, I got a written commitment for another tier 1 tech VC for a $10,000 grant. And as soon as we get it, we're going to do another $10,000 donation.
Yep.
We're going to do another $10,000 in grants quickly. But what we can do is say, all right, how can we ease your parenting lifestyle, right? How can we help you be a better parent? How can we help you level up your social capital? How can we help you grow your business? How can we put money back in your business account and your personal account? So I look at Focus Brands, which is an Atlanta-based restaurant chain. I think it's like a $3 billion company. I mean, they donated $1,000 in food gift cards for 20 people. So that's $50. So if I'm a parent and I'm virtual schooling and I'm grinding on my business, my pockets might be a little light, and I don't have time to cook. So if I got a $50 gift card, I just go to Moe's Southwest Grill, for example, swipe the card, my food magically appears, and that's 2 meals. If I have a small family, I don't have to prepare, I don't have to pay for it. So we've given away AWS, food gift cards, grants, paid for therapy. We had we had a LinkedIn expert come into our community because Black people. So it's not just, everybody knows that the data show, disproportionately Black people, we simply don't get access to capital as we should. But it's not just a fiscal capital issue, a monetary issue. It's also a social capital issue. I don't see a lot of people talking about that. And the issue with social capital is a lack of it keeps us from being able to execute on our would-be brilliant ideas. And even worse than that, I think, and more insidious, is a lack of social capital keeps us from imagining what's possible. And as I look at the Black...
Great points. I mean, we have a bunch of folks talking about making wider access to the capital side of it, but the network, the social support, the recognition, all of that feeds into the whole startup arc and taking the stress out.
It does, because for me, I'm like, wait, it's unacceptable that we can't execute on ideas because we don't have the social resources. But it's even more acceptable that we can't imagine what's possible, because I feel like our children, our grandchildren, and our great-grandchildren, they deserve better from us. So we are working to help to address those things. We're doing our part to help address the income inequality. If you look at the Fed reserve charts, the median white family wealth is 10x that of the median Black family wealth. And that's just simply unacceptable.
So one of the challenges of parenting, and I certainly had it, my kids are now, one is 22 and the other is 19, but I've been doing startups.
Oh, wait, they grow up?
They do. And, you stop worrying about them sometime after you're buried, so it just, but,
that's good.
But there's this whole thing, I think, of a startup can be a really demanding job and struggling with balancing parental responsibilities. But I think also on the other side of that, for me at least, it was always important to show my children that I believed in my job and was fulfilled in my job, and that I expected that when they became adults, they would also be fulfilled in their job. So I think there's this natural tension in, you want a job that engages you and you still can't ignore your children, right? So how do you tackle that, and how do you help the Black parent community with those struggles?
Man, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's aspirational still in a lot of ways, but you have to be mindful. I just reached out to Brad about coming into the community to do a webinar with him and Amy to talk about his book, how to be married to an entrepreneur, right? And I loved his response. He's like, yo, I'm game to do it, but I'm saying no to everything until the end of the year. Can we do it in January? I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I said, I love the word no.
Right.
No is a complete sentence. And I think no it's a complete sentence. Right?
I'm stealing that.
Yo, right. And it's a vital part of self-care.
Right.
Everybody always wants to get up in your face for a 30-minute Zoom, but really we could address it over 2 emails.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
part of it. I'll tell you one thing I did. So when my kids were little, I was in a company that was headquartered in startup was headquartered in San Jose. I was on the East Coast. And so and I blocked off family dinner. And I was like 7 to 9, I am not available. And I
That's
get
it.
all these California people, and
That's
they'd be
it.
like, hey, we want a meeting at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'll do meeting
No,
at 10 p.m. Eastern.
that's right.
And then they go, oh, no, that's all right.
Well, okay, well then we can't
Yeah.
talk. I
Yeah.
mean, you know,
So
it's very simple. It's very simple. No, no is a complete sentence.
love it. So what advice do you have for parents that are contemplating becoming founders? How should they think about that? How should they prepare for that?
Listen, I think another thing, and I know all this because I've lived it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in this. So Seth Godin, I forgot to mention Seth.
Yeah.
Seth came in and did a Zoom with us. I mean, Seth charges like 75 stacks
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
a Zoom, right? Seth came in and he was awesome. He didn't have a deck prepared, but whatever. I had some amazing questions for him.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And he was sitting in his attic, looked like his attic, maybe it was his basement, and he was just riffing. And it was awesome, man.
Uh-huh.
He was like, oh yeah, my first book was this book of emojis. Oh wait, I published it back in 1980, whatever. Oh, I actually have a copy right here. Let me get that for you.
Yeah.
And I sold 100,000 copies of this book, right? But it was amazing. But
Yeah.
the thing that he did is he offered scholarships to many of the members of our community.
Yeah.
And so we're in his Akimbo marketing workshop now, which started last week. And there are many of us in there. And he was so great. He set up like a little a tag for us. If you put that tag in, all of us get notified. So we have our own little space
Great.
in there. And it's great because like the last 2 videos in particular, one was about empathy. I can't remember what the other one was, but for me, it crystallized why what I'm doing matters and how to convey that. He talked about empathy. Empathy is like the secret sauce from a marketing standpoint. He talked about stop doing things to get attention. As we all do. Look at me,
Yeah.
Instagram, Twitter. Nobody cares. Stop doing things to get attention and start doing things that will get your customers to tell 10 of their friends about your business.
Mm-hmm.
And that simple mindset shift and thinking about the emotions around why people should care about what you do and presenting that, it's been so helpful for me. And I think about the foundation in particular because I get these messages from people in our community, and we're like 500 strong already in like 2 months. And they're all, this is so great, this is so great. And I'm like, why? And it's because they want to be seen, right? And heard, and somebody helping address their current problems and the problems they don't even know they have. And because I am them, I know, right? I always ask, I have a great icebreaker question. So based on these questions, I put up polls. Do y'all want this? Nah. And then we provide resources and webinars and information based on what they need. But instinctively, I know because I am them. And that I think is what's so great about what we're doing in the ParentPreneur Foundation.
So I think there's something really interesting in there because, I look at the foundation and it's new and I'm thinking, Seth Godin, oh my God, and when you come from an authentic problem that you're wrestling with, that it resonates. I mean, when I heard about this, I was thinking back to, the startup days when I had a couple of ankle biters and it was like, yeah, this is hard.
It's hard, man. But so the other thing is that people don't talk about enough is your spouse. If you're married,
Yeah.
your spouse.
Yeah.
Because I have a thing I like to say is if you don't have a supportive spouse and you are starting something, either the marriage will fail, the business will fail, or both will fail. So you better make sure you get your spouse on board however you do that.
Wow. So I agree. And I just celebrated my 25th wedding anniversary and feel like that's the best decision I ever made.
That's
But,
great, man.
but I also went through a startup where the founder of the company had a excruciating divorce, and it's hard. What kinds of things do you do to prepare for that test, and how do you make it sort of a different way of using inclusion? But how do you include the spouse in acknowledging the stress level that comes with it and the vital nature of their support?
So one thing that we all know is that revenue or cash flow is the great deodorizer, right?
Yes, that's true.
Right. I mean, if you can get some wins to
Right.
show, I bet you didn't think this was going to be so funny.
No, I love it, man. I'm stealing that too.
Yeah, it's
That's great.
true. It's true. Like, dude, like I keep it a buck. I do.
Yeah.
I keep it 100% all the time.
Yeah.
Because I'm not talking about things that I don't know. Like I got divorced 2 years ago. It was a brutal divorce, like you just said. It was hard. So you just gotta get buy-in from your partner all along the way. You can't, they don't want to do it. You can't just go running off and doing it. If you do that, you better succeed.
Right.
Right. And even if you do it and succeed, there will still be some resentment because you did it against their wishes potentially, right?
Absolutely. It's equivalent of like whatever, buying a house and coming home and saying I bought a house, right?
You
It's
did
like,
you
what?
did what? You did what?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's really important. And you have to, again, I'll go back to mental wellness.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're in an airplane, they drop some oxygen mask drop, you got to put your mask on first.
Yeah.
You got to make sure your mental health is good, because the whole hustle and grind mentality, man, that will grind you to a bloody pulp.
Yeah. I had another speaker that just shook her head at the kind of Jack Ma 996 stuff of like, that is not the way.
It's not. I mean, it's okay to work hard, but you got to work smart, and you got to make time for yourself. You got to make time for your spouse. You got to make time for your kid. You have to create boundaries. You have to say no.
So let's talk about another aspect of this. If you're a founder and you've got a startup and you're building a company, what do you do to create a culture that recognizes the challenges of parenting, not just as a founder, but for your entire organization?
It's just
instill those values.
I mean, I don't think it's that hard.
Yeah.
It's very simple, right? Like, you got something to do with the family, go take care of it.
Yeah.
Family first.
Yeah.
Family first. Take care of family. I expect you to get the work done. We're all adults here, right? That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. If you don't get the work done, you got to go.
Yeah, it's, Fred Wilson from Union Square Ventures did a blog this week, and I'm gonna see if I can remember it, but it was family, fitness, friends,
and
firm,
business.
fires, right? So you start with family.
That's right.
And I think that's really important, and I think every founder should think about the kind of culture they're creating and the message they're sending to their staff. And I think part of that, and it, maybe I'm monologuing here, but part of that is, if you say, I'm going to take care of my kids as the founder and CEO,
that's right.
You are sending a message that this is okay in the broader company.
Yeah, but if you're a founder, you don't have kids, you need to be mindful of that.
That's right.
The same, from the same standpoint, if you're an investor and a founder with kids, you got to be mindful of that too. And you should be encouraging that founder to take care of her, himself, his spouse, his children, because to the extent that the founder's doing that, they're going to be in a better mental space and they'll be able to more effectively execute what they need to do.
So let me ask this: if the foundation's really aimed at Black parent founders, if someone in the audience is a Black parent founder and they want to find out more or get involved, what can they do?
So they can simply go to the ParentPreneur Foundation.org. The main CTA on the site is join our community.
Right.
It's free. Just join us. I mean, the community is great. I mean, we have an ambassador program, and increasingly I'm seeing more people popping up as ambassadors. That means they referred at least 2 of their friends to the community
Right.
who've joined.
Yeah.
So the whole, I mean, and that started after Seth Godin came and talked to us. I spun that thing up, and I've created some wonderful incentives for people. You refer people, we give you something cool.
Love it. Love it. So do you have any closing advice for people in the community? So let's do investors, founders, and other people in the startup ecosystem. What should they take away as the most important thing around this?
Yeah, so I think I just said it with respect to investors, right?
Yeah.
So from founders, I mean, mindset over everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to get your mind right. I mean, obviously you got to have a good business model and good margins and all that stuff, right? But that's a given. But you take care of yourself, take care of your mental well-being, like be as present as possible for your family. Like I still struggle with that, man. I still feel like an imposter sometimes, you know what I mean, as it relates to that. But I mean, that's just me being really hard on myself, because I'm not, but I still, I feel a little guilty sometimes, but like, my daddy, you have another call? I'm like, yeah, all that, those steaks and hamburgers and stuff I was grilling, I got to pay for that.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And, with respect to the foundation, if empowering Black parentpreneurs and helping them leave a legacy for their children matters, like, please support us, man. As little as $25 on the website, you can donate. It will make a big difference.
So last question. How extensible do you think this model is? We're really trying to reach a global audience, and
That's right.
If you're, I don't know, in Dakar or Lagos or Sao Paulo, or what can people that are wrestling with these problems in those communities learn from what you've done and apply to their constituency?
Hey, man, join us, right? No, that's it.
No, I love it.
No, join us. The vision is global. It's not just here in the US. We're starting to see people in other countries joining us already, and they're super excited because they don't have these types of resources where they are. And if there's a problem unique to where you are, and if you have enough people from your community where you live, join us. I will create webinars and find resources that address your specific need. I mean, one of the questions, everybody's like, oh, we need money, of course, right? So, okay, today I just scheduled an event. I went through Generator. It's a highly ranked accelerator.
Yeah.
I'm very good friends with Troy, who's a co-founder. We just spun up an event November 2nd, 8 p.m. He's going to come in, talk about angel investing, what he knows. I mean, look, those guys, they've gone through Generator and those programs have raised over $300 million. He knows a thing or two about that, right? He's going to come in, talk about G-Beta, and answer these people's questions. So I'm creating content for them based on what they tell me they need. I'm not just pulling it out of thin air.
Yeah, I love it. James, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.